Double cup, become straight, holy nuts. Out of my friends, I want Audis. Smoking on booth and it's my weed. I check the bitch like I'm Mari.
Hello, today I am going to show you how to fix oil pressure warning on Audi Q7 4L. As you can see, the car warns me about the problem and tells me to shut off the engine and check the oil level. But in my case, the oil level was fine. Even connecting the car to a computer didn't show any problems. The next thing I did was check the oil pressure sensor, and I saw that it was all in oil, which meant that it was bad. So, I bought a new one. The oil pressure sensor in Audi Q7 4L 3-liter diesel engine is nearby the oil filter as I'm showing you. I'll show you the sensor from different angle. Here it is. You can follow this covered wire to find the sensor. To remove the sensor, firstly remove this thing and put it aside. I have already removed the connector and as you can see, the sensor is full of oil. And the connector is full of oil too. I will have to clean the connector. Look, I will show you how I remove the connector from the sensor. I inserted a screwdriver to the connector and pulled it to a side. Then, using 90-degree small pliers, I pulled the connector out. To remove the sensor itself, you will need a 24mm long socket head. Using a ratchet with a long extension and a 24mm socket head, unbolt the sensor. Firstly, insert the socket head separately, then attach the socket with extension. It is a very tight space. When you loosen the sensor, you can unbolt it the rest of the way by hand. Be careful taking it out or you will lose it like I did. Luckily I had my bottom engine guard removed before, so the sensor fell on the ground. Here are the old and the new sensor in comparison. They look exactly the same. Here is the hole, where the sensor is bolted in. My socket head was a bit too long to bolt the new sensor in. So I decided to put some paper towel in the socket, to allow me to bolt the sensor easier. I still had some trouble putting the new sensor in as it kept falling out of the socket. After 5 minutes or so, I managed to finally thread the sensor in. But I had to use my both hands so I didn't film it. Sorry about that. As the new sensor was already in place, it was time to clean the connector. Firstly, I used compressed air to get the remaining oil from it. Secondly, I wiped the oil with a paper towel. Thirdly, I sprayed the connector with contact cleaner. And finally, I used the compressed air to get the excessive liquid from it and wiped it with a paper towel. As you can see, the connector looks like new. Now, it's time to connect the connector to the sensor. It is also quite hard to do it using only one hand, and there is very little space to do it. So I had to use my both hands again. You can see me connect it from above. Put the thing we removed earlier in its original place. Okay, the new sensor is installed and connected. And it's time to test drive the car and see if the problem is fixed. If the problem remained, I highly recommend you to go to the nearest service to get it fixed. There might be numerous reasons why a low-pressure light might have popped up. Faulty oil pump, clogged oil filter, clogged oil passages in the engine, or low engine oil. If it is not the low oil and not the sensor, you might be at risk of permanently damaging your engine. In my case, the warning came after a minute of driving, and now I drove for over 3 minutes and it didn't come up. My problem is fixed. Thank you all for watching, and I hope this video is helpful for you.